Welcome everybody to our next session about making fields mandatory. In today's video we are going to present you the next one is an option to make field mandatory using a dictionary entry. Today again with you your guides Mike and Ula.
Hi.
And with all this being said, Ula, what are we going to do today?
Well, you spoiled it. It's our third option for today. It's about the dictionary entry. And you want to go to Studio?
Yes.
So before we go into, do you want to start by explaining what the dictionary entry actually is, Mike?
Yeah, sure. So in ServiceNow, you know, we don't have direct access to the underlying database, MariaDB at the moment, or later it's a RaptorDB. So, and therefore we need a kind of translation between our logical view on a table and its fields to the technical view. And this is where the dictionary entry comes into play. So here we define fields, but more on a higher level, not the technical level. And ServiceNow will do all the required activities in the background to create the fields, to change the fields, and so on. So when we, for example, check a read-only checkbox here, then at the end it's something more complicated on the database side, but we don't see it. ServiceNow will do the job for us.
Yeah.
It's amazing insight. I, to be honest, was never really thinking about the different layers of communication between the application itself and the database. Thank you for that, Mike. And a couple of words probably about the dictionary form itself. The dictionary in ServiceNow supports lots of different data types. You can use ServiceNow official documentation site, docs.servicenow.com, to went through them, but on the form itself you can also have option to configure a lot of different settings. However, it will be probably a topic for one of our later videos, as we are now concentrated more around this tiny one.
Yeah, often these options are overlooked in my experience. So, well.
Who clicked on the advanced?
I did.
Link? I know, because it's a bit annoying, and ServiceNow there are some important types like dictionary, or I also think UI policies, the same, where we have this option to switch to the advanced view. So that's the reason why you don't see all the fields if you open this without switching to the advanced view. And now we see the advanced view, right? Because you already switched. So therefore, either you create a view policy to enforce the advanced view, or you have in mind that you always have, or you should always click on the advanced view before you start anything with the dictionary.
Yeah, it's actually a great catch. And for some reason, I don't understand, right, who decided what fields should be present on the default and the advanced, but I tend to think that some of the advanced fields should, for a very long time ago, have been moved to the default view, because you use them relatively often.
Exactly.
All right, Ula. So should we play around with the mandatory field with on the short description, let's say?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Let's make it, set it mandatory. Now in parallel, I'll also open sorry. I'll also open an entry for this session. I presume you have prepared something for us, right?
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, nothing other than the short description is set as mandatory at the moment. And this is due to the change you just made on the dictionary level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make a new record instead of modifying this one.
Yeah.
So start by trying to submit this one without adding a short description, see how it behaves.
Okay, I'll right-click on the gray bar and press save. And I'll get an error. All mandatory fields are not filled in. Short description.
Yeah. So far, this behaves kind of much like a UI policy would if you set the field as mandatory, but you can enter a short description and try to save it now. And it works as expected.
By the way, one more hint for the users of ServiceNow utils. ServiceNow utils allows you to press Ctrl S and the record will be saved. Very nice hint if you like to work with the hotkeys and your keyboard.
One question. Here, the form is preventing you to save the record without having a short description. What about the scripting layer? Is it also working on the scripting side?
Let's dive into that one.
Let's figure out. So let me just open it in the background. And then I will try to set the short description to an empty string and save it. And it worked.
Yep. So the enforcement is on the form or on the list, but only in some cases. We want to switch to the list view and see how it behaves. So we now have 3 records without the short description. That should be mandatory. And if you take one of the older ones, session 1 or 2, and try to switch the short description to something like a blank value, one of the first 2.
Oh, sorry. Will it work? No, it will not.
No.
We are informed by our browser that we need to provide short description. Okay.
Okay. So one of the later 3, which are empty on short description, see how it behaves if you blank out the description on my record number 3 or number 4.
Oh, I mean, it worked. But it's strange, right?
Oh, kind of both ways. You would expect it to somehow catch that the short description is mandatory, should be filled in, but the change is actually happening on another field, so it's not evaluated. So it's only checking on the field itself.
Did you guys know that? Leave us a comment.
No, this is surprising for me, and it leads me and makes me think, how can you make sure that your data remains valid, right? Because if you are able to bypass this mandatory field check on dictionary level, then you have a problem in the future. If you only are relying on this feature of making something mandatory.
Yeah.
One of the approaches that many of our community might think about it to solve it quick and dirty is, of course, to disable list edit completely, right?
Yeah. And if you open the record number 4 and try to change in a similar way to remove this description, this will not work. So on the form level, it's enforced. So there's not so much to say about this option in configuration wise. It's applied to all records instantly when you set it as mandatory on dictionary entry. So you have to consider. Yeah.
What about if you are, let's say, you extend a task table? I think we didn't do this, right?
No.
Yeah, it's not extended. And on the task table level, there's a mandatory field. Is it also mandatory on a child tables?
Yes.
Unless you override it, yes.
Yes. One of the coolest features of the extended tables, right? And it also allows you kind of avoid the customization for the parent table. Let's take incident, for example. If you type incident.config with the capital letters, it will open it in a new screen. And here, if we, let's say, take an assignment group. Assignment group is one of those fields that belong to the parent table. Here you can see that the default setting for assignment group requires has, let's say, attributes and also configured visibility, mandatory, and other settings. But if you come to the dictionary override, you will see that there are entries called with the names of the child tables. And if you open, let's say, incident, you will present it with the following screen, which allows you to create an override for one of those settings. And one of the very popular overrides, like, let's say, for the assignment group is the reference qualifier, because on different tables you might want to make available only the groups with the specific type or with a specific condition, let's say.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Yeah, if we're going to go back to the form. And we see here as the short description is mandatory. There's an option to personalize the form, which not something is that anyone misses, that this is a thing you can do if you try to remove the due date, for example.
Oh yeah, I can
see what happens.
That.
And you see instantly it's removed from the form. And see if you can remove the short description.
I cannot. No. It's grayed out.
So this also affects the ways you can change your form around.
All right, guys, this was it, more or less, about the dictionary entry for today. And I presume, what would be the summary of this whole video? Ola?
Yeah, dictionary entry, it's a quick way to do. It's often overlooked because maybe you looked for UI policy in first hand and you forget about this option. So it's kind of easy and doesn't require any coding. And on the other hand, it's always enforced. So on every record, more or less, so you better consider if you want to change an already existing dictionary entry from non-mandatory to mandatory, how it would affect all records that's already in the system. And you have no options of conditionally set it to mandatory. It's always enforced, so it would affect the views on the form and so on. So,
and to add, in not only the views in all records, but also in all experiences, in the service portal, in the workspace, in the mobile app, it's everywhere. It's mandatory, and this might be not always what the customer wants. So therefore, we have to think about to use the right feature for doing something.
Yeah, and as we can see, it can be overridden by script-wise. So you need to consider that as well.
Okay.
So I presume there is a lot of information to process for you. And if you have any additional questions to us, please leave us a comment under the video or our social networks and like LinkedIn. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.